All right, guys, come on in. Come on in and say hey. Let's get this thing rolling. Tonight's gonna be a fun night. I have had another one of those, those days where your people cancel out, and that's okay. You just keep moving on with it, and we're just gonna have a lot of fun tonight. I got a lot of stuff I want to chat about, things I want to look at. Just trying to make sure I have all of the places up and the chat showing, so that I know what the heck is going on. And yeah, so that's what's going on. So how's everybody doing tonight? Y'all come on in and say hello. Let me know what you got going on. Good to see everybody. Just come on in and say hello. We're gonna have a fun night tonight. This should be a good one. My guest did cancel out tonight, so we're going to just kind of keep moving on and see what we can talk about. I've got some news. I've got some different things I do want us to talk about. And it's weird. I got things disappearing on me. So come on in and say hello. Let me know what you got going on. There we are. Hey guys, come on in. Hey, what's up, John Deere? How are you doing? Good to see you. Everybody come in, say hello. We're going to be talking about the news tonight. We're going to be going through some news in the makerspace, primarily in the 3D printing world, guys. We're not going to, I'm not going to, mislead you in any way unless you think that we're going to be coloring all over. What's up, Nate? How are you doing? But we're going to be going through a lot of news. I got some really interesting news. I'm going to actually show you some Kickstarters as well. And just some stuff that I've tripped across over the last couple of days. Let y'all know about them. There will not be a commentary on them, I promise. But we're going to sit down, go through some news, and just see what we can find out. A lot of interesting things. What's up, Rhonda? How are you doing? Good to see you. Lots of interesting things coming across the wire. It's like I'm starting to see a lot of materials. I'm wondering if the end of this year or if next year is going to kind of be the year of 3D printing materials. I don't know. A lot of interesting things happening. You're seeing some developments of kind of interesting stuff. Kind of really, really interesting stuff. What's up, Lone Star 3D Expo? Man, you're just getting everywhere. You're like all around the place, aren't you? Good to see. If you haven't heard about the Lone Star 3D Expo, you should definitely get over there and log in or follow and just see what's going on. There's going to be some awesome stuff next year, August of next year, and it's going to be an exciting time. I'm going to let them talk more about it, but I know I'm excited about it. Should be really, really fun. Come on in, Mr. Cartoon. I see you. Hey, thank you for the gift. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Oh, well, that worked. That actually worked. I mistyped an address and then it actually went to it. Oh my. I probably should. I thought I had that down. Sorry. I'm trying to make sure I am everywhere, guys. We're about to get this started. We are about to get this started. And so if you're not going to let me stop it, then let me mute it. There we go. All right. It wouldn't let me pause one of my videos. I'm trying to make sure I have the chats everywhere. So we do. What's the plan for today? So guests canceled out. We have those time periods of time when things, are going and happening, and guests have to cancel out and reschedule and do all those things. Well, my guest had to cancel out tonight, so that's 2 weeks in a row. Some things have happened, and that's okay. That's okay. We're just going to keep going. Tonight is going to be some news. We're going to talk about some really interesting news items tonight. Some that Nate sent me, I'm really excited about. We were talking about something, and we ended up he's like, "Oh, I didn't tell you about that." And so we talked about it a little bit, and I'm gonna show you some of that. I'm gonna show you some interesting materials that are coming down the pipe. Got some three different things right now from three different companies. Surprisingly, as far as print materials that are going to be appearing very, very, very soon. Then we've got some different machines coming out. We've got an announcement for Prusa. We've got some cool things happening at universities, and I've got some Kickstarters I'm going to show you. I thought it might be fun just to go through some Kickstarters, discuss some Kickstarters, because I know there's a few some of y'all are very opinionated about, and I thought we'd have fun discussing that. I'm trying a new different voice microphone today. Can y'all hear me okay? And then we'll get the show started. We'll start going through some of these. Just let me know. Lone Star. Did you fill out your email today, Lone Star? If Lone Star is who I think Lone Star is, he'll know what I mean by email. Getting that Eufy Make printer. If you, it was the last Kickstarter I supported, and so I'll be getting that Eufy Make printer in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, and we will, yeah, we'll make some really awesome stuff. I'm excited about that printer. That's gonna be fun. I've been playing with my Centauri Carbon. It's been really good to me. I've really enjoyed it. I've got it pretty dialed in. I'm going to start printing with different materials, and yeah, so that's going to be an awesome one. Hey, raise your hand if you're here. Let me know you're in the room. I don't mind if you lurk. Just say hey, and then you can go sit over in the corner. I do the same thing. I understand. So come on in. Just let me know you're here. Say hey. Give me the little wave. I know Mr. Cartoon popped in. Nate popped in. We have Lone Star, and let's see who else we got. We have Fresh Prince of Bel Air and New Makers hanging out with us as well. So that's cool. That's exciting. Thank you for letting me know it sounds good. And yeah, we will jump into some of the news now. One of the first things that it's not remembering my settings for some reason. Anyway, one of the first things I wanted to talk about. Let me find it. Blah, blah, blah. Get over here. All right. There we go. We got it up. We're going to talk about some material stuff, guys. Prusa actually dropped a PP glass. It's a tough PP glass, which I'm kind of excited about. If you know anything, if you played with any of the PLA or the PETG glass fill stuff. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is kind of the desk that you normally saw me at. We moved the shelf here that used to be back there, and so this room's slowly coming together. We got the back wall painted. Now we got to get some multi-board across it, and we'll be doing that soon. But so the PP glass, we're going to look at some of those properties. Am I on the article? There's the article. All right. Prusa Research says its new filament is all about strength and reliability. The Prusa Mint PP glass fiber. So it's probably going to be PPP glass fiber, a natural reinforced polypropylene composite that promises improved mechanical properties. So you can see some of the prints there. Close. You can kind of see a little bit of the translucent properties. Now I'm sure this is just bare filament. They haven't colored it or anything. These are just kind of the initial prints with it. But you could see some of the things they're saying it could be printed with be drone frames, RC car parts, custom tool handles, that type of stuff. Now, if you've ever messed with any glass fill stuff, you know that it is really, really strong. Even a glass filled PLA is really nice. I've messed with some of that, made some tools out of it. It's a really, really good glass is a really good hardener. It adds a lot of stiffness and strength to anything to the filament that it's part of. So PPGF has a matte, slightly rough finish. Not only looks professional, hides layer lines, which we know kind of that rough finish does that, but also accepts dye well. The company says since it's based on a translucent white polymer, so that's hence what you're seeing in the pictures, users can customize the color post print if desired. That's interesting. So we will actually be able to mess with that ourselves and dye it ourselves. That's interesting. We're not seeing anything. Moisture absorption is very low, right? Density, it's a good density. 24 hours, 7 days, C 0.04, so you don't, not hygroscopic, right? We're always looking for that. Okay, Lone Star, we'll talk. So heat deflection. Here's some of the cool stuff on is the heat deflection. 158C on the heat deflection. And 115. That's yeah. That is great. That is great. That's going to be some real strong parts. They're going to resist heat a lot. I mean, I think that's like definitely better than ABS ASA, which the PP you would definitely do that. But yeah, the shore hardness is 62, so there's a little bit of flex to it. Or D, sorry, I missed the D, so no, not much flex to it. Use it with a hardened steel nozzle. Glass fibers are abrasive and will quickly wear down your brass. So that's one piece of material. That's one thing material-wise we're looking at. The next thing, Polymaker is coming out with a Fibron PA612. Now, if you don't know much about that, this handles heat really well. Polymakers disclosed detailed performance data for the filament method, noting variations, mechanical properties based on printing orientation. So you can see the tensile strength here. Some of these tensile links, there you go, 84. Exposure to moisture reduces these figures, so it's a little hygroscopic. Electrical performance of the print parts can be adjusted through a process setting. Surface resistivity improves at higher nozzle temperatures. So it can resist conductiveness or static. So that's good. What are they suggesting? Additive manufacturer being leveraged to develop and deploy specialized ESD safe materials to improve performance. That's why we have two mics ready. Apparently my other mic decided to die. Now this is a deal. This is an FDM material. I think they've got some DLP's SLA materials coming out with it as well. And repeated wave soldering cycles at 245C. Dang. Next material, Stratasys. We all love Stratasys, right? This is actually a cool one because this is a silicon, and you kind of know where this comes from. Remember back in 2021, Stratasys purchased Origin, and they had their Origin 1 machine. I actually got to see the Origin 1 machine at Rapid TCT this year. And so they've got a P3 Silicon 25A, which a lot of people have been working on silicon. And so this is an SLA material. So it's a resin, UV resin. But you can see the elasticity of it there, which we're always looking for more and better elastic materials within resin printing. We have some good ones when it comes to the TPUs. I tell you, TPU, what it was when I started printing, what it is now, like two different worlds. The elasticity you get out of these products is great. Still have issues with some delamination and everything, but it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. So these are three materials that have come out pretty quickly over the last couple of months. So maybe we're moving into a really, really big kind of material time for 3D printing, which, you know, I think that's exciting. I like having new materials, especially now that we're getting printers that can handle hotter temperatures and sustain them in a chamber. We're getting a lot more machines like that. Now, that, you know, this one being resin, the Prusa one actually does not require a chamber. They suggest it, but it does not require a chamber. You can do it. And then the Polymaker, it's probably going to require a chamber because it's definitely going to have a little bit of shrinkage to it. This silicon, which silicon, if you know anything about silicon, it always has a shrinkage. So there's going to be some shrinkage to it as well. But those are just three interesting materials coming out. I've enjoyed looking through and kind of studying materials. And I had run across the Prusa one. Nate sent me the Stratasys one. then while I was doing some research this afternoon, I ran across that one. If you're ever interested in just kind of seeing some curated news feeds, I have news feeds at our newsfeeds.asylumlife.com. You can always look at. There's some great feeds over there. I look through those a lot, and that's where I get a lot of my news. Now, another cool thing that was announced at Fab 25, which is this year's, it is an event that happens in the Czech Republic, or Czechia. I still call it the Czech Republic. Sorry. But and I don't know that they like calling it Czechia. But anyway, today they announced, and I called it, dadgummit. They are adding, look at that, non-FDM tools to the XL. I knew it was coming. There was too many smarts in the head of that printer. In each of those 5 tool heads, way too many smarts. That way too much information being passed over that way, and not enough going on. So they did talk about it from the stage, and then when they got interviewed later, they wouldn't share like the target release date. They wouldn't talk about the new tool heads. He did say that, internal targets are quite soon. Wait, let's see. Quite soon, right? That's always the way they do it. Hey, thank you for the likes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you have any questions about any of these articles, please put them in the chat. Let me know. I am watching the chat. I'm just kind of going through everything, letting you know what's going on. Some of this news I think is really cool and really important to what we do. Some of it's a little more on the professional side, but if you're looking at the news on the professional side, it's coming down to us. It's all of that technology that starts at the commercial end always works its way to more of a prosumer consumer place. And so it's getting closer and closer and closer, guys. We're really getting to some really interesting stuff. So, now I've always thought, and here's some of the things, another follow-up showcasing a pen plotter used to embed some links in the first layer permanently, and suggested RFID could be another route. So embedding an RFID chip, or even because they're starting to be able to lay down the materials for things, and an RFID is just a radio signal. There's a whole thing to it, but there'll be some things that they can do printing wise to get RFIDs laid down in there and in. I think you're going to see that. I think you're probably going to see things like screw inserts. You're going to see all sorts of different things to help the manufacturing process. And that's one of the things I've always talked about. The XL machine was never about a consumer level. It was a prosumer commercial level for people who were wanting to get to the point of, you had a lot of multi-material things that you wanted to do, or you wanted to do multicolor flexible materials, or you wanted to more on the industrial commercial side of things. And I think this is bearing that out. Let's see if there was anything else there. There was one more comment that was in here I wanted to find real quick. So anyway, it talks about they're looking at multiple types of different things. What I find most interesting is combining materials, like depositing polymer layer followed by an adhesive layer and another polymer layer to increase adhesion for making, a sandwich. And so being able to even lay down some plastic and then maybe a liquid material to help the adhesion, so that you can do 2 different materials that don't normally stick together. Just different ideas like that. Hey, no problem, Nate. No problem. I know this is not the normal show. This is not the normal Thursday night show. We do have an interview next week, and Jonathan E3D, we're going to be interviewing him. The next week after that, we're going to be interviewing Paul from New Makers. And then I don't have my calendar up. I am in the process of talking to Uncle Jesse, the Real Sam Prentice, Joel Telling for the rest of this year, trying to work through and get those guys in. We're just trying to find some appropriate dates. And then once I find their dates, then we'll start talking about the other people who are going to come in around them. But I'm trying to pull in some other people that we can get to know a lot better. And I know this isn't the normal show, but hey, we're going to keep it going. Nate, you're the cool kid. You're the cool kid. So anyway, so there's that. So that's coming. Now, with the advent of tool heads, right? Multi-tool heads, we're seeing a lot of that. We've watched Neokoi, Danny Daniel. We've watched him develop his multi-tool head. We have the Index coming out soon. We have a lot of different multi-tool heads coming out. We also have a bunch of multicolor printers coming out, which we'll talk about the Yumi printer in a minute, and y'all can, if you want to give me your opinions on that, we'll talk Yumi and we'll talk about a couple of other things. But on the multi-tool head side of things, Snapmaker is also coming out with a multi-tool head. Now this is, for a Snapmaker machine, come on, look at that. Let's look at, go away ad, let them see the beautiful printer. Right? That's looking pretty good. So this actually came out last March, where we kind of leaked and heard some things about this coming from Snapmaker. Maybe one day they'll let you upgrade a print. Yeah. I mean, very, very possibly. Very, very possibly. I mean, Voron's already there. Voron, there's several different multi-tool head systems out there. That was one of the things that Neokoi's been working with. The Index is coming out soon, which that's supposed to be compatible with a lot of different printers. Now that one, to me, is a little limiting just because it seems to be pushed more towards hot ends versus other tools, but maybe they'll expand it over the time. Maybe they'll be able to change the belts and everything that they're using, or the data cables and everything they're using for that. So that might change. That might change. Let's see. So this is a 4-color tool changer with a sleek frame. Blah blah. We won't go into all the aesthetics of it. Not including information about pricing right now. It's called the U1. And so the Kickstarter is launching here soon. That's not one of the Kickstarters I'm going to talk about. But it's Core XY. Awesome. Designed with intelligent snap swap tool changing system. They say 5 times faster, right? Than the market leading competitors. So 5 times faster than Bamboo, right? We know that. That's what they're saying. Market leading competitors. Now, I wouldn't say the XL is a market leader. I think in advance wise, it's a pretty strong machine, but lots and lots of people aren't buying this, right? So you'd have to, they're probably comparing it to Bamboo, which a lot of things change faster than Bamboo, right? They're not talking about multi-material, but we assume it would be able to do multi-material. This time saving tracks as we have clocked the Prusa XL tool charge swapping filament as much as 90 seconds faster than Bamboo Labs. So they're comparing it all to the Bamboo, which I don't think is really fair. Filament swapping and tool swapping are 2 different things. I feel like that's you can't compare those 2. And if you're going to be a multi-tool head, compare yourself to multi-tool heads. Not color changers. Anyway, but it's a 256 machine, like we always see in kind of these first iterations. And there's kind of a look at it right there. Looks interesting. And we got to the point where printers just looking different is not going to be a thing, right? The Core 1 is nice and ready for awesome. You ready for your mini? Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying the Core 1. Now the Core 1 I'm interested in, they've got the multicolor, right? I'm wondering if, because the Core 1, they've kind of bifurcated the upgrade from the MK series. We had the MK1, MK2s. I have MK3 S pluses. Then those upgraded to the MK4, and then we kind of bifurcated and we went MK4S, Core 1. So you could go either way, right? And so getting into the Core 1, that's more of kind of a print farm feel. It's got the whole enclosure like your X1s and your Centauri Carbons. The lid, the way it works, I'm wondering if they're eventually going to allow for X1 upgrade, because they've got a lot of potential plugins on the board inside of that, and that board is a very similar board to the XL. And so it's very, very possible maybe one day they'll allow multi-tool heads for that printer. So that could be a next upgrade for them. I don't know. Just a possibility. Just a possibility. So that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, so that's another multi-tool. So, we talked, I guess it was last year. We talked about some things, and I basically said that by June, July of this year, if you are not doing multi-tool, if you're not doing multicolor, that you are going to start seeing your sales on your printers go down. That if you aren't at that with your company, then you're probably going to start seeing your company starting to die. And we've got most of the companies have moved to support some type of multi-material. We're looking at the Elegoo. Elegoo is saying third quarter of this year they're coming out with their multicolor changer. We'll see what happens there. We've seen Bamboo playing with the idea of multi-tool, and they're really good with multicolor, right? And everybody's out trying to beat Bamboo. You're not a Prusa guy yet. You're not talking about them as much as me, and you just bought one. you know. Hey, every printer has its advantages and disadvantages, and I've always enjoyed Prusa. Prusa was my first machine. I've had others. I've had Trunksies. I've had other things, just kind of seeing. But to me, that's kind of home for me. You did buy you did buy the Mini. That is true. That's funny. That's funny. All right, so let's see. Let's get back to some other stuff. Let's jump off some news and let's go to some Kickstarters. Let's talk about some Kickstarters that are going on. Mr. Cartoon, your fingers must be killing you. You are like. My mic is won't stand up. That's okay. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that very much. And I think I can close down. Nobody's chatting in other places. That's okay. They saw it was just me and they were like, eh. So anyway, trying to get, I know. For some reason, looking at my numbers as far as total number of people who've come through tonight, for some reason, TikTok does not like me tonight. We've had 20 people come through the room, period. And so I don't know what's going on. I think they've just gotten to the point where I don't know. I have no clue. Andrew Fidgety, I get that. So we've got to figure out some ways to do some fun shows, do some things. We might be too serious for TikTok. Okay. We'll talk, Nate. We definitely will. But here, so let's, I want to show y'all a picture. So this is something, Nate and I were talking about. What's up? Hey, thank you for the lives, guys. Thank you for the likes. So Nate and I were talking. So I had been talking to my top secret friend. And, my top secret friend, that's all I can call him. I can't talk about him. I can't say his name. He can't be seen. He can't be anywhere as far as the social media sphere. And so I call him my top secret friend. And, so I had heard about, things happening with drones over in that battle in those two places. I don't know what words I can say when it comes to that. I just know, the U and the R. That's all I can say. I hope that helps everybody understand the place that I'm talking about. The drones are insane. They are making so many drones right now that if you are there in the field, we'll say that. If you're there in the theater, there you go. If you're in the theater, you may as well just stop because one's going to get you. They're making so many, they're attacking individual people with it, right? And they're going after individual people. And this, I had not seen this, and this was shared with me earlier. And I was quite, it might be a little janky, but boop. Look at that. down at the bottom, if I can make this any bigger, can I zoom in? It won't let me zoom in. It's a little janky, right? But that's a drone that they are printing with the printers that are up there. And we see a bunch of X1s, and we see a Creality K1 down here in the corner, I think. And they're flying them by fiber wire. Now, these things are flying 8 miles, guys, on fiber wire. And like, yeah, of course they're janky because, you know, they're not worried about them coming back. I don't know how you make that much fiber. That one gets me. Okay, thank you, Nate. I didn't know if you wanted me to share. I didn't know. I'm just making sure. I try to, you know, protect my sources sometimes, right? But yeah, so there's so much between both places, between the R and the U. There's so much 3D printing going on that yeah, you can't even step out of where you are if you're in the theater because you're just going to get hit by one. And now there's even drones that are flying around like cutting wire, right? If it were me, I'd build some kind of contraption that sat on the ground with a really tall pole that just steadily did this. Maybe even make it like a whip. Me whip, call me Nate. Well, anyway. So I think that would be an interesting defense mechanism, and then you're just cutting the wire and done. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, guys. And so, you know, with that, we're starting to see 3D printing reach like totally new levels. Even to the point where this was an interesting article when it comes to recycling materials. I don't think they care about the pig. I know. I understand. I know it's out there. But anyway, so new 3D printing material, waste, powder, and used parts. So BMW has actually, you know, I'm starting to understand a little bit more about the Stratasys Bamboo lawsuit that happened last year. I was totally wrong. I am shocked at the number of companies, industrial wise, that have purchased Bamboo printers. I am shocked. Like, I thought many companies would consider it a security prototype risk. And I am shocked when it comes to like seeing BMW using printers like this. It's weird to me. But anyway, so they are starting to take PET and recycle it along with some other waste that they make from their factories, from other places. They're even finding places to pull in other industrial waste. They're not using it in the cars. They're using it for accessories in where they work. I know, I get it's put them on their own island, but still, things have a way of sneaking out. That's all I'm saying. And when you add something to it, I'm not saying there's not safety precautions, and I understand all that. Anyway, just interesting. So they are starting to use recycled filament. It was a project they started in 2018. They started researching it, and they're using them for accessories for different things around their plants, around their offices, the different places that they work. They're not putting it in the cars and doing anything there. But I know, Nate, I didn't believe you. I thought it was just you. I was wrong. I admitted I was wrong. I said it. I was wrong. I'll always admit when I'm wrong. But that was, I just was just shocked. Totally shocked. Especially when I know other companies, other printer companies that sell so many to agency, 3-letter agencies and corporations. I'm just really shocked at that. I know you do, man. It's all in good fun. You know that. Anyway, so yeah. So 2018, they started this project. And they called it Bottle Up, right? Recycling PET. And just one year later, industrial waste was being used to produce recycled filament on a pilot basis. 2021, the team successfully printed their first holders and auxiliary production devices using their own recycled filament. So internal to BMW, they're actually creating their own recycled materials. And they're using it, like they said, here's successfully printed their first auxiliary production devices, right? Have no clue what that means. That just sounds like it's not in their cars and it's not on the machines. No, and that's how my one Bambu Lab printer is in land mode. Yes. I'm with you. Of course, always. So each year, up to 12 tons of waste powder can be recycled into filament and granulated and can be reused for manufacturing an auxiliary production device. See, there's that word again, that phrase again, in the plants and for pre-development projects at, oh, okay, so in prototyping, so they can use it in prototyping as well. So that's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. So there's somebody's figured out the recycling thing, right? Somebody has. It probably is. They're probably making exhaust vents for the back of their 3D printers, right? Or they're making pencil holders for everybody on their desk. Or maybe they hand out challenge coins and they need to make something to hold them and display them on their desks. So they're printing all of those. Or maybe it's bathroom signs. Maybe they're doing multicolor and they're doing bathroom signs. Who knows? They could be doing anything. They could be, but I think that's cool. I think that's cool that they figured out how to take all of that waste and make whatever it is they're making, right? Then we got, let's see, the Univocity. New 3D printing method combines soft and hard properties in a single object, right? There you go. They printed a photo of you. Do they know you well at BMW 3D everything? Are you like a big fan? Is there a wanted sign with your face on it, or don't let this guy in sign with your face on it? Is that what they printed? So this is cool. This is a really interesting thing, and this adds to the whole idea of SLA printing, right? Where, you know, you've got the liquid printing, UV hardening, right? Blah, 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 blah. Right. I like BMW too. I'm definitely a bigger BMW fan than a Mercedes fan. When I was growing up, I washed cars outside and got to wash a lot of doctors' cars in the area and learned really, really fast. I liked BMWs over Mercedes. And that's the only time I ever drove a BMW or a Mercedes. So, you know, with MSLA, the stuff we use, our resin printers, you know, it's a UV light and it cures each layer as it raises up, right? Well, this company basically has a material that can be hard or flexible based on the color of light that it's hit with. So they can actually, as it's raising up, they can hit it with different colors of light and choose the flexibility of a particular area. It's a trespass photo. I get you. I get you. That's probably down at the Alabama plant, right? You drive by Alabama periodically and hit the Alabama plant. What's up, Fresh Prince? So I thought this was cool. So researchers, University of Texas, Austin, have developed a new 3D printing method that combines soft, hard properties in one single object by using different colors of light. The process is described in a recent paper. Nature Materials, the team believes that the technique could pave the way for the next generation of prosthetics, flexible medical devices, and stretchable electronics. Now, get this. Think about this. Think about how this is working right now. You know, we're used to full exposure of UV on whatever we need, right? And so there is a there's a light underneath an LED screen, and the LED screen, they call, it's a mono screen because basically it's either transparent or it's not. When you put power to it, it becomes transparent. When you take power away, it's not transparent anymore. In corporate, we called it snap glass. We would actually install it in Windows and use it to open and close windows when you needed privacy. And it's just basically LED glass, right? This is a little more. It's a screen, so you can pick individual pixels to turn on and turn off, but it's the same basic idea. So think of being able to print, exposing just a certain area to one color of light, and then exposing another area to another color of light, and exposing another color area to another color of light. We're getting to the point where if our resins are starting to be sensitive to light and have different properties, now we're starting to move into the idea of we can do multicolors by hitting a resin with a different type of light, frequency of light, color of light, whatever it is, right? We could potentially go full color resin prints on our SLA machines versus having to get like, a J35 from Stratasys or a Mamaki or something like that. Right. So, oh, did you fresh prints? Yeah. I made server rooms. I used to work for Southern Farm Bureau, and I was the guy for an 8-state region that set up training rooms and actually did campus tours for the different campuses we had in all the different states. And so I used it for server rooms where I could pop one transparent so you could see certain servers, and I had audio playing, and so I could actually direct the audience with the glass, and then we would turn it down and shut the lights off and be able to do videos and different things in rooms and just play around with a lot of stuff. Wow, thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you so much, Dragon Girl. I really, really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of possibility in an idea like this, where, because they're saying combines soft and hard properties in a single object, and we're thinking layers, right? Like we're thinking a few layers hard, a few layers soft, but this is potential hard soft in the vertical, right? Not just the horizontal, because of the light. So if you hit the light all the way down through here, this section, the pieces are going to be, so you're actually now working within your full group of axes to create flexibility in some different ways. And if I do a soft material for a couple of layers in a place, and then I don't expose it for the next few, and then I come back and I do more, and now I'm creating a spongy material, right? So there's a lot of different ways you can play with this and make some really, really interesting things. But I wish they're not really showing a lot of examples here. You don't see anything but this, which does nothing for us. But who they are what? So crazy. All of these articles that I am doing right now, and this particular one definitely will be in the Asylum Live Discord, in the Asylum Live chat room, so you can always go look at these. But this is a company who's figured out, using SLA printing, how to expose a resin that they've developed to different colors of ultraviolet light to cure, and based on the color that they hit it with, it is less flexible or more flexible. So I was just saying, there's a lot of different things you could do with that. You have to think on all the axes, not just on the on the horizontal. There's a lot of things you can do, and this to me opens up the potential down the road of having a material that changes colors based on the wavelength or color or amount of time exposed. So I think there's some really interesting things there. So yeah. Next, through chemistry and 3D printing, new materials emerge. We're seeing new materials every day, guys. Like I was saying, we looked at, good grief, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the gifts. A hot dog. I am a little bit peckish. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That is awesome. So imagine building a material that becomes stronger when stress is applied. So I think we're going to start seeing more. If you watched the beginning of this year, we started seeing a material here. A month later, we'd see another material. Now materials are really stepping up. We're starting to see a lot of interesting materials coming out. I know we've had some older materials that have become visible that we didn't know about, but you've got a lot of newer materials at universities and stuff that may be probably 6 months to a year old, because we always hear about it late, right? So if they're developing this, there's something else coming, and these materials are starting to come out faster and faster and faster. So I really think the end of this year, or potentially next year, is like going to be the year of materials, and I'm kind of excited about that. So this one, an innovative material using 3D printing technology with potential real-world applications in medicine, engineering, and other areas. Okay, buzzwords. We're going to keep moving on. By pairing the bioplastics they developed with an innovative 3D printing methods, blah, 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 blah. They've created new materials with exciting and sometimes unexpected properties. It feels like cooking, blah, blah, blah. So basically, they've got these different materials. They've got two in specific that are talked about in this article, where one of the materials stretches and is very flexible, but when you start pressing against it, it gets stronger and less and becomes a stronger material. And then when you let back, it returns back to its original form. And then you press, it gets stronger and harder and more resistant, and then so it's not like a rubber band where you press it and it gets to the point where it snaps, right? It's more like the fibers, when you press, they seem to hold on tighter, and so the material becomes harder and stronger as you put it under stress. All right. Chinese finger traps. That's a good comparison. That's a very good comparison. Oh, I hated those as a kid. That was so bad. And then when you get like as an adult and you're like, why did I have so much trouble getting out of these? But as a kid, it was like, oh, I can't get out. Help me. So that's a good comparison. Yes, I'm right there with you. Done. I should have thought about that. So that's one material. But then the other material they have is heat, where the material, it's in a shape, you heat it up and you move it into another shape. Well, when you add heat to it again, it springs back to the original form and is now more firm than it was initially. And so it takes some really, what was that? I could see some really interesting possibilities there. I don't know what happened, guys. I'm sorry. Let me know I'm still around. Guys. Not sure why my camera popped away. Am I starting to jerk? Is my video starting to jerk a good bit? Okay, it seems to be smoothing out now. I don't know what happened. Sorry. Okay, good. On my end, everything went blank, and I was like moving. It's like a strobe light. Okay. So yeah, so those are some new materials here at the University of Washington that they've been able to develop, and these are 3D printed materials that they're using. So that's pretty neat. So like I said, a lot of different materials. Now let's get into the Kickstarters. Let's go to this one. This is the one I know everybody wants to talk about. Yeah, the 80s. Are you talking about Max Headroom? Max Headroom? No. All right. So here we go. Y'all ready? Talk to me about this machine. So it started, has 52 days to go. It has 254 backers, right? So this is Yumi. This is the bed slinger. They say they can add up to 12 different colors. Yeah, ooh, LEDs. I know they love their LEDs. And oh, you're funny, 3D everything. Now I do have to say what's really interesting about this picture, and I don't necessarily blame them, is you don't see the 12 Bowden tubes going to the head of the printer. All right. So I'm going to mute this. And so I'm going to let this play, just kind of let you look at this. Well, now we're going to jump up. We're going to jump through it. So there you go. They are not showing the Bowden tubes and how snaky that's going to look, right? You know, I assume they've seem to have braces and everything bracing the top of the printer. If you look at it, you see the frames in the back. So there is a kind of an A-frame feel to it there. But I feel like they're not showing everything there right now. We do know that they have gone live and they've shown a full print live changing colors, right? So that's good. That was asked for a lot, and I finally saw that they did that. So that was great. You know, it's an interesting story, and I know we all have people who are involved in it, and I adore Pretzel. Pretzel is awesome. We have a lot of fun when we get together. She's really, really cool. I enjoy hanging out with her and hanging out with, I keep wanting to call him the 90s magician, but Cheesy Chain, right? And they're just good people. So I know Pretzel sees something in it. So that's why I look at it and I wonder and I ask questions. And because if Pretzel had not been involved, I wouldn't give this machine a second thought. And I'm just being honest. And Pretzel did a time-lapse video. She did. And that's awesome. I was so glad they were responding to those comments and everything. And I actually sent a message to them tonight. They're probably asleep. I wanted to give them an opportunity to talk about it. Let's see. Yeah, no responses. But just, I know they're asleep, so they probably weren't going to respond to begin with. And I totally understand that. But I wanted to give them a chance. But, you know, the goal, what do you think? I mean, they've hit it, right? So we got some really, really interesting stuff. It'll be interesting to see what this machine looks like. To me, it looks like, you know, what Slicer painting 3D models has never felt this natural. Doesn't that look like, I feel like they've got it right down there. You know what I'm saying? It feels like Orca Slicer. And I don't, anyway, so no purge towers. I'll be interested in seeing that. Minimal waste. I assume they're using internal purging on the machines. Well, so, I mean, let's be honest. You can't, there's just not much you can do with a bed slinger to keep it from looking like a bed slinger, right? And there's a couple of very, very popular bed slingers that when you make a printer, it's going to look like one of those. Snap points. Yeah, I know. If they took some notes as far as the painting and stuff, they took some notes from like Adobe Shoot Illustrator on like marking things off and painting and snap points and stuff like that. I think slicing would be so much more fun. Anyway, so I just wanted to see what y'all thought about it. I am not a total negative on this. I'm not going to support it. I don't need a printer right now. If it would have come out at a different time, I don't know. I just supported the Eufy Make printer, so I don't have many funds that allow me to support something like that. But you know, it's a possibility. Any last thoughts on that? Any last thoughts? All right, let's go to the OTTO eject system. So this is another one. Looks like it is going to be supported. Let's just jump here to the end and see if we can see it waking. So here you go. I guess that's the print on it. And so this is made for any machine. And you can see, so 6 plates. I assume you would be able to, okay, there's multi-plates. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. That's interesting. So this, this could be fun if you're running some type of farm or something. Yeah, it was at Remurf. And so I think it's definitely an interesting system. It seems to work well. Where they're showing it on multiple types of printers. There's no reason it can't work for bed slingers as well as Core XY, as well as anything else. It looks like it was good. Definitely has the backing. 12 days to go. So there you go. There's that Kickstarter. Next Kickstarter. Everybody knows West 3D, right? So we have the Vertigo. A robust, versatile approach to print farms, job queues, and remote operations. Plus, it looks cool. Yeah, that's West 3D. So you like this one? Have you backed it? Has anybody backed any of these that I've talked about? This one's definitely backed. Got 37 backers. It's already backed. You can kind of see over here just the different things, and so it's you're building a whole system, right? And let's find a video. They don't have a video, do they? Oh, here we go. That's kind of cool. It's kind of a little flippy like that. Real interesting. It's an interesting approach. We haven't seen that approach yet. I wonder, do you have to set it on a desk that slants? What do you have to do? We already talked about the Snapmaker U1. You missed it. That one we talked about earlier. We were talking about the multi-tool head and how that had come out, and the Kickstarter was starting soon. So, I wonder, is there a system that pushes them out from underneath? If it's dumping direct down, what is happening to the pile of prints? You can see that one falls kind of back behind the printer. So how many I assume the number that you go is based on, how small or how big they are. I'm sure you get a pile in there, right? So it looks interesting. I like the concept. Heck, I wouldn't have to empty a build plate ever again. It would just empty itself, right? And the other one, you still have to put the build plate up and pop it. This one just takes care of that. So that's kind of cool. All right. This one I've been waiting for. So, I talk a lot about companies trying to figure out how to become the managers of STL files. How, if you look at Things and MakerWorld and Printables, they're really trying to, what about fails? It just pushes them off and throws them in the pile, I assume. Maybe it has a spaghetti detector. I didn't look that in depth into everything that it does. And it just flips it and dumps it down. So I assume everything goes through the bottom of the printer. That would be my assumption. I would build like 4 big long legs. So you had about 4 feet from the floor and it would just drop down. Everything would drop down to the floor. Anyway, so the companies, they're in the backgrounds trying to figure out ways. How do we safeguard files? How do we control the file? And then when you want to print it, you hit a button on our website, it sends it to your printer and prints it. You never touch the STL, you never touch the object file, you never touch anything, but you get the print, right? Companies are looking for that. Well, here is a Kickstarter that is doing that. And so they're using NFTs to protect the prints. And they have a small box. You can see this little box here. Get this rolling. And basically, that box hooks up to your printer and it says, yes, you can print the file. Correct, 3D everything. That's what they want to do. I mean, think about it. If you're a company, say I'm Ford Motor Company, or I'm Hoover Vacuum, or I'm any number of companies that are out there that have files that can be 3D printed and you can add to things or make something new out of it, right? Me putting it out there potentially is a loss of money for me because I don't have a manufacturer. I'm making the part, they're selling it, I'm getting a cut of that, right? So now if all these people are duplicating all my files for my vacuum cleaners or for whatever it is we're wanting to replace, I have no control of that. It's done. But if I have a place where I can put my file and I know it's going to be secure and they can only print it and I can get a cut of whatever it's purchased, of course they're going to do that. Of course they are. Now, is it at the right time? I don't know, because so many people are starting to get away from, digital musics or not digital music, but getting away from like Spotify and movies that they're wanting to own the copies now. So is this a good time? Is this a bad time? I don't know. But this was an interesting way I saw of them using blockchain NFTs to protect a file and let it print and then go away. Hermes, I assume that they are Futurama fans. So just interesting. So it's a blockchain marketplace. So you go to their website, you choose it, download it, or not download it, you tell it to print, and it goes there and it prints. How do you put a CD on your phone? You rip it to your computer and you upload the MP3s to your phone, dude. Come on. You have Plex. You know how this works. It's not Napster. It's Pirate Ship or Pirate Bay. That's what it was. That's what it is. People are starting to look for those places again. Like the searches have gone up for those places again. It's so funny if you watch it statistically. So this is interesting. I mean, something like this is going to be the future of 3D printing. I mean, me as a creator, if I could join a company and I could safeguard my files to where people could print them and not get the file, maybe they buy a commercial license and they can print it so many times or unlimited amount of times, but they never get the file. A designer never gets it. They can never like take it and bring it into blah, 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 and do whatever they want to with it and duplicate my design. Now they can sit there and draw it out, but that's a lot of work for them, right? It'll cut down on it some. So anyway, I understand. So that's just kind of my thoughts there. I think it's an interesting concept. I think we're starting to see that now. It's June 10th. First created, 0 backed, right? When does it doesn't say when it launches, does it? Oh, 31 backers. There it is. So it is backed. So I'm no pirate. So interesting system, interesting concept for the future. It's definitely coming, guys. It's definitely coming. And we saw the through chemistry and the university. So there's the news, guys. That's the stuff I wanted to talk with y'all about tonight. What do y'all think? Any thoughts? Any questions? Glad to see everybody here tonight. Thank y'all for coming in. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for just kind of hanging out. I know we're supposed to do an interview tonight. I've had 2 weeks of people canceling. That's fine. It happens. Y'all have seen it happen before, and we'll keep going. Next week, we do have Jonathan of E3D and New Makers fame, right? He's going to be here and we'll interview him and talk with him about just kind of some of the things we don't know about him. The week after that, we've got Paul from New Makers. He's going to be coming and we'll talk with him. I'm going to pull up my calendar really quick and we'll see, because I know I've got some other things planned out. Because I know when we move on up to October, we've got the like North Pole. Who are they? I got to remember their name. Let's see. We're talking to the Real Sam Prentice. We're talking to Uncle Jesse. We're gonna have trying to get some dates for them, get some dates for Joel. We have North Pole 3D printing in September. So we're starting to fill out the dates and really get everything in there. Don't sing what? What am I not singing? What did I start singing? Did I? Or was it? Anyway, all right. There you go. So we do have some interesting things coming up. Good interviews that I'm excited about. Y'all know, exactly. So there you go. There you go. All right, guys. Any thoughts? Any questions? And there went the show. And everybody's gone. And they're all singing Baby Shark and Mana Mana. Da, 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 da. It runs through my head too. I had New York, New York stuck in my head for like 3 years one time. It just happens. It just happens. What does the fox say? That's funny. Well, guys, thank you so much. Thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it. And we'll get back to our normal, regular, scheduled stuff next Tuesday. Oh, what am I doing next Tuesday? That's my night. So we're probably going to be putting printer together. We're going to be looking at the Centauri Carbon, and then I'll probably be working on my Voron that night. I've got to work on the Voron, and I've got to work on my Cobra Max and get those things going. I hope the news was good. I want to bring some of the news back. I think it's fun to know about the things that are going on, talk about the future, talk about what's happening right now. Hey, we got 3D Printopia coming up in September. We got some new things coming up next year. Those are really, really exciting. I'm excited about the Lone Star thing. That's going to be a really good one. Okay, you like the news? Okay. We're going to slowly be adding that back. I kind of went back, pushed it out for a little bit to develop some other shows, and we got some cool shows coming up. But the news is going to be coming back, and we'll be talking about it more. If you ever run across news, send it to me. I'm always interested. I'll be putting a lot more stuff in the Discord as far as news goes. I want to work on a project in the Discord, guys. Right now, we're talking about Meshtastic, doing some things with AI. We've got some stuff, 3D printing, electronics, and stuff that we want to develop around it. Jump into that. If you think of another project, let's get some projects going. Let's get some people talking. Let's develop some really interesting things as a group and see what we can come up with. But thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's do the outro. And the studio's getting better, getting closer. I do need to find a night to get with some people on Discord, and y'all help me decide what to put on this shelf. I want a light back there. I want to decide, do I put Christmassy boxes up there? Do I put little brackets from Clock Spring? Do I, what makes that shelf look nice? And then we're going to talk about the multi-board on the wall. I'm excited that New Makers is going to help me do that. So this might officially for a few months be the New Makers studio as we develop that process. So I'm excited to be working with them to do that. And then my other wall, I'm going to be working with another company on, and that company has not come out yet. So we will see. We will see. But thank y'all guys for being here tonight. Just remember, like we always talk about, we want to live life to the fullest. We want to grow in wisdom, and we want to share what we know and what we've learned generously, right? So let's keep doing that. Get over in the Discord, and as Modern Magician comes in and says hello, we're all going to say goodbye and good night. Hey, Modern.